Sounds of blackness in the house. We're gonna make this thing rise, baby.
You look so much better when you rise, yeah. Get up and celebrate the air you breathe, yeah. God gave you all the things you gonna need. So start believing it's a brand new day. Get on your feet, there's gotta be a better way. Rise,
Gotta keep moving on. Keep moving on. Here a little too long. Little too long. There's no need to die. No need, no need, no. Rise, it's your time to lead. You got everything you need. It's the way to live your life.
What we need to do is have dialogue, conversation with each other. There's no place. Every community needs to work together to literally suffocate and choke the life out of any form of racism. If there's one molecule of racism left in the air, we need to band ourselves together. Because unfortunately, our younger children who are not familiar with the struggles of my particular community, the African American community, they may seem to think that the world exists in some type of utopia. And so I think we all must be held accountable. I'm a minister of the gospel. What I say publicly, I'm held accountable to certain standards. Those who are in the world of academia are held accountable to certain standards. So I think that we just need to come together and try to identify systems, structures, or individuals who may not even know it. Many people may not even be aware that there are certain biases that exist within themselves. So we need that kind of consciousness, and if we come together, I think we can suffocate the life out of all forms of racism.
In your perspective, what would have been an alternative way to teach about this type of lesson in class? Because it's something that needs to be taught. But what would have been the appropriate way, in your perspective, to teach something about slavery to these students?
Well, number one, in this nation, we're talking about a 400-year history. So there's a plethora of opportunities, a myriad of opportunities to teach about it. But I think it could be potentially be damaging to create these, or to, I don't want to use the word force because I'm not familiar with actually what happened. But if there's an assignment given, it can be perceived as being a forced image that children are asked to whether imagine or dream of, that created some kind of disdain. And so I think being in academia and having a universe of books and a universe of opportunities and stories, I think there could have been a better platform to be presented.
And what do you think the school district should do? They've done their investigation. It's still currently, the future of the teacher's position isn't really set in stone. What do you think? What do you should call the school district to do?
Yeah, I would, number one, to be fair, because I do not have the information as with respect to what the investigation entails. So while anyone is being investigated, if I was being investigated for some wrongdoing, I would have to go on sabbatical. You know, there's system, there's structures in place. You are a wonderful reporter, but if something was done out of order, you would have to cease and desist until the end of that investigation.
Absolutely. Is there anything else you'd like to add so that Freeport knows, your thoughts, any final
Sure. We have to live together. Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. said many years ago, we must learn to live together as brothers or die together as fools. And so I'm determined to do everything I can to work in the community and use all the resources that are available to us to make sure all people, white, black, Asian, Hispanic, all of us, we're right here in the same community. We have to live together in brotherly love.
Thank you so much.
My pleasure.
It needs to be rooted out. When it happens, we all need to come together, identify it as wrong. People need to learn.
So you want the teacher removed?
I want the school district, I want to identify that this can't be. I want everyone to be educated about the things that we do every day that carry the either overt or undertones of racism and separation. This could have only happened, this incident could have only happened if there was something, a level of acceptance, of casualness on the topic that was going on underneath. And it needs to be addressed. One person is not the problem. The fact that we have systemic racism that is so infused in us just because of what's around us, not because of a choice we made, that something like this can happen and we can just accept it as, oh yeah, okay. That's a level of casual that I can't be okay with as a daughter. And so I came with a daughter. So I came here with my wife and my daughter. My wife was involved in the Women's Diversity Network, who is trying to fight these things and get them more into the public view. So I'm glad I was able to come. Thank you very much.
My name is Shaniqua Levin. I am the founder and CEO of the Women's Diversity Network, along with the co-founder of Long Island Black Alliance. I would like to thank today our other organizations for leading this press conference with us. We have Black Long Island and Color News as well. And the Answer Coalition has been extremely supportive as well. So I just wanted to go and start off and talk about why we're here today. About almost 2 weeks ago now, an incident happened in the Freeport School, in the middle school that we're right here at today. And an incident dealing with making fun of slavery. The Freeport School District, I want to applaud them because they were very quick to respond and to take action about this racist incident. They immediately put the teacher on leave and did an investigation. Last Tuesday at a school board meeting, the superintendent spoke about what he found, and I would like to read that to you, his statement at the school board meeting. Dodd Middle School, we have been investigating relentlessly. Tonight, I'd like to provide an update you to where we are. As you know from my statement from over the weekend, the investigation started on Friday, and the investigation continued into yesterday, continuing into a bit more this morning. I want to provide an update for you, and I want to read the statement. Some things I'll be saying again, so let me say that. So as you know, we've been conducting an investigation regarding an assignment given to students by W. Dodd Middle School teacher last Thursday. The teacher's directions to the students concerning the writing of captions of Reconstruction Era Provost. The Reconstruction Era is roughly 14 years following the Emancipation Proclamation in 1863 and the end of the Civil War in 1865. The district's investigation began last Friday after several parents contacted the school principal to share their concerns, and my office too. The teacher was removed from the classroom while the investigation proceeded. Let me be perfectly clear, our investigation has determined that the lesson was poorly conceived and executed. The teacher instructed 3 separate classes of students to develop captions for photos for sharecroppers. We understand from our investigation, she told students to make fun and don't bore me. To make it funny and don't bore me. Aside from the fact that this is a poor lesson, it is insensitive to relation of a deeply painful era of African Americans in this country, and it is unacceptable. The teacher has delivered an apology, which I will share with you this evening, and it goes like this. It is with the deepest sense of respect that I apologize to the students and families of and to the larger Freeport community for my insensitive words and actions last week. As a teacher and a fellow member of the school community, it is my responsibility to exercise the highest degree of care and thought in all of my student and faculty interactions. I failed to do so last week, and I fully accept that I must work hard to rebuild trust for my students, colleagues, and the community. The superintendent concluded with, we, the district, are currently finalizing an agreement with the teacher and her union representatives. So on behalf of myself, Board of Education, I want to thank the Freeport community for its patience through the investigation and reaffirm our school is a place of tolerance and understanding. Thank you. So those were the words of the superintendent and of the teacher. An apology is not enough. We want the teacher to be fired and to no longer be allowed to teach in any classrooms. I'm going to turn this over to Billy Moss from the Black Long Island.
Good afternoon. My name is William King Moss III, and I am the founder of Black Long Island, a group on Facebook. And I'm an educator as well as a father. I was appalled after inspecting the pictures of the worksheet that was allegedly handed out to students by a teacher named Shelly Scully. The writing that the student wrote on that worksheet are consistent with an instructor telling those students to write something that makes light of, makes fun of, or degrades the pictures above. That evidence to me is clear enough to know that the lesson was poor, that the instruction was to degrade the post-slavery pictures that were there. Those pictures represent a dark history for African Americans, a painful history for African Americans and for all Americans. Certainly, a teacher of black students and of all students should not be violating the dignity of the people who struggled through those times by asking and teaching students to make fun of or make light of or degrade that era. As a father, I'm disappointed. As an educator, I'm disgusted. And to me, there is no apology great enough for violating human dignity and teaching students to violate human dignity as well. Thank you.
Thank you for those comments. Next, I would like to call up a parent from the Freeport School District to speak about her experience.
My name is Nadine Thomas, N-A-D-I-N-E, last name T-H-O-M-E-S. I'm a parent of a 7th grader at Dodd right now, and I also have a 2nd grader in her school. To say the least, I would say that I was pretty disappointed to hear that this was actually the lesson, and that, not the lesson, but that this was the actual instructions that were confirmed at the board meeting the other night. It was disheartening. There are a lot of wonderful, wonderful teachers in this district that I love a lot, and my children have thrived in this district, and they do well, and this is not who I'm talking about. This is not okay. This is marginalizing people, and the fact that children have to sit through it is disgusting. I think as a district that one of the things on a short term that maybe they can consider doing is taking this 7th and 8th grade class on a trip down to DC to see the African American Museum and learn that same lesson there. Just because the entire atmosphere in the area is, it's pretty grim, or duh, it's pretty grim. I wasn't planning on speaking, so I'm sorry. I use this as a teachable moment to my children to say, you know, we make mistakes and we can be forgiven, but also to know that when you are given trust and you break that trust, it's very hard to restore. And as a mother of a 7th grader. He's going into 8th grade next year, and if I heard that Ms. Scully was his teacher, I would not want him in her class. And that trust is broken, and I can imagine that there are a lot of other parents thinking the same thing too. I don't know how we would be able to trust her again to teach our children and not worry. We can't be there 24 hours a day in her classroom to make sure that everyone's doing the right thing. There needs to be cultural training here, cultural sensitivity training across the board, and I think that would be helpful. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. I would also like to call up Shireen and Sandy to speak about our list of demands.
Hi, our list of demands include that the teacher be removed from the classroom, and that is in strict adherence to the DASA Act, the Dignity of All Students Act that we have in place in New York State to ensure situations like this never happen. And as per the Act, all students have to be engaged in educational studies without reprimand to their who they are, their religion, their race, or their ethnicity. And this has been a straight violation of that. In addition to that, we all require that teachers take cultural sensitivity training. The changing demographics of Long Island show that the students are ethnically different, and the teachers a lot of times don't reflect that. So we need to reflect the changing demographic of the student body with the teachers as well. We need to hire more teachers of color. As an educator, I feel that hiring more teachers of color will ensure that the history, the curriculum will be intentionally changed to reflect all students' voices, even those which have been historically marginalized in the school district.
Hello, my name is Sandra Gail Jenkins. I am actually a minister of the gospel. I am a retired registered nurse, and I'm a part of the Seymour Corporation, where we have many programs, and one of them is called Ready, Set, No, Making Right Decisions. This summer, we taught the children on making right decisions. First, I want to say I'm concerned when we can teach children how to make a decision, and then we have teachers or a teacher that does not have the capability of making a right decision in her assignments that she's giving to children. Another demand we have is racism should be a cause of violence. Teachers have to have a certain moral and character. This teacher is not meeting the standard. This, I understand, is not the first time that she has given assignments along these lines. And some other students have stated that they're just used to her making comments like this. It is totally unacceptable. I don't know how it got this far and why the school did not know about it. I'm grateful that they are addressing it. However, racism has no business in our schools. We cannot leave our children to a teacher who should be nurturing and helping to raise up excellent people for society to someone that is biased. And she clearly cannot decipher what to do or how to speak to children appropriately. There should be a set curriculum, as we already stated, and I believe that they're addressing it, and outline the lessons dealing with ethical and cultural history, slavery, the Holocaust, and Muslim history. All teachers, including new hires, should receive cultural sensitivity. As a matter of fact, even in the program that we were doing under Cedarmore, the Ready, Set, No, one of the highlights of it was, and I used it from Channel 7's hashtag Be Kind. It was about sensitivity, and we taught the children sign language, how to be sensitive to kids with special needs. We all have to live together. We cannot leave our children in the hands of a person who has demonstrated her inability to be a teacher, to be sensitive, to not be biased, and her level of racism is totally unacceptable. We cannot tolerate this type of behavior, and she cannot remain in this school district. She has to be fired.
And I just want to add that another alternative lesson to what she had done would be, which I did with my own students, a trip to the Schomburg Museum, which is part of the New York Public Library, and they have an amazing exhibit on slavery as part of the 1619 project of the New York Times. Now, these are the things that cultural sensitivity would train the teachers how to proceed with these projects in a culturally sensitive way.
What is your name before you go?
Yes, my name is Shireen, S-H-A-I-R-E-E-N, R-A-S-H-E-E-D.
Thank you, and I would like to call up Ariana. A lot of the students that actually attend Freeport Middle School and are in our classrooms, so that way they don't become a target, we're not asking them to come up and speak today. We want to make sure that they remain safe, but Ariana, who is a junior at another school, would like to speak about this experience.
If something like this had happened to me, where I was forced to do a worksheet making fun of slavery, I would not only be disgusted and disappointed in my school, but I would be disgusted and disappointed in myself that I had to get a grade on something like this. It fathoms me that something like this could even happen on Long Island. I've lived here my entire life, which is 16 years, and you would never think that something so crazy would happen. I see it on the news all the time that incidents like this happen at other schools, down south, on the East Coast, on the West Coast, but never on Long Island. The fact that something like this did happen makes me scared for the future of our children, of my children, and of everyone that attends this school and other schools.
Thank you. Long Island has a racist history. Long Island we have towns like Levittown. You know, we have Robert Moses designing highways to prevent people of color coming in. This is something that Long Island's been struggling with for a very, very long time. We're very racially divided here, very segregated. We come in and we stay in our own little silos. We're trying to create a community on Long Island where people come together. People experience each other's diversity, applaud it, and celebrate it. When teachers take it on themselves to divide us even more, it's just not tolerable. We send our kids to school to learn. We trust them. We put our trust in teachers that they will be teaching our kids and not giving them a racist history lesson. When I first heard about this incident, I was saddened. I was saddened for the kids in that classroom, especially for the kids of color that have been marginalized, to sit there and be dealt with a teacher telling you that you must do this assignment and you must make it funny. How dare she? How dare she say that about black people and the things that we've been through, that our ancestors go through, that we still go through today. We built this country, and you're going to sit here and make fun of our past. This is not a laughing matter at all. No one is here to make you laugh and make it be funny. Slavery is not a funny thing. Things that happened during the Reconstruction era are not funny. We deserve more respect than that. Our kids deserve more respect than that. So I applaud this school district for taking immediate action, but she needs to be fired. She needs to be no longer allowed to teach anywhere in this country.
What's a license?
Nowhere she should be allowed to. We have a list of demands. It needs to be done over. No teacher in this country should be allowed to say anything racist, homophobic, Islamophobic, or anti-Semitic. This should not be tolerable. It should be automatically a fireable offense. Our kids deserve so much more. There's so many ways that you can teach about the Reconstruction era. Why don't you teach about the aftermath, what people went through, how this country was built, not teaching how to make fun of it. How dare you give kids a class assignment where they're making fun of something so traumatizing. So I thank you all for being here with us today. We will continue to organize. We have petitions out there. Please go to our website, to our Facebook pages, and sign on to our petitions. Please make sure that you contact the superintendent. you contact the school board, you contact the teachers union, you contact the assembly members, you contact the senators, you contact the Board of Education and anyone that is responsible for having this teacher removed. It's very important that we come together, our diverse voices and our diverse spaces, to say that we will not tolerate this. This is unacceptable. Thank you.
We want her license for the First Episcopal District of the African Methodist Episcopal Church. We stand here because we want her license revoked to teach in New York State. Why should it be revoked? Because she has abused the child. And under that guidance, it should be removed. In no way, shape, or form should ever mocking someone's pain be a laughing matter. In no way, shape, or form. You can't protect it under the guise of academic freedom, because academic freedom to teach is educati, and that means to pull without, to pull the best out of your pain, not to mock the pain. A school, especially a middle school, is supposed to be a safe place where everyone feels comfortable that they can learn, a safe place where everyone, because these are kids are going through the various changes in their life and as a middle schooler, and so they're already going through enough challenges physically. To challenge that and to degrade and belittle an experience such as slavery is unconscionable, and we will not accept it in New York State. We will not accept it in the United States no more.
Sounds of blackness in the house. We're gonna make this thing rise, baby.
You look so much better when you rise, yeah. Get up and celebrate the air you breathe, yeah.